Hi guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Nuggets News. Today we've got a special guest with his first appearance. That's William, who's one of our contributors, one of our team members who's been doing some fantastic work on interest-bearing stablecoins, which has become a pretty exciting prospect now that the macro backdrop has changed. So as I mentioned, he's part of our team on the research platform here. He did a great write-up on this a couple of weeks ago, and now we wanted to share some thoughts. And this probably comes off the back of a theme we touched on over a year ago, talking about some of these projects and some of the changes that MakerDAO had made that really opened the door for it to lose market share and see the growth of other decentralized stablecoins. But now with the direction they've taken, mate, adding things like real estate and bonds as collateral, it's centralized them a little bit, but we've seen a fantastic array of other projects doing similar things to offer people, I guess, interest rates on chain on top of their stablecoins, compared to where we had 0% interest rates and everyone was just used to holding these stablecoins without any benefit. Yeah, thanks for coming on. Do you want to just share your thoughts overall on this space and what we're seeing and some of the things you've been researching?
Thank you for having me on, Alex. I appreciate the platform that you have, and having me on is going to be great for me. Yeah, so with interest-bearing stablecoins, and what Maker is doing is basically bringing T-bills on chain. And everyone knows that with the current environment we're in right now, um, short-term T-bills, the interest rate for that has been a 20-year high, you could say, and this thing wasn't T-bills, and the yield from T-bills wasn't possible 2 years ago when interest rates were at 0%. But now that the macro environment's changed a lot, T-bills are the yield you get from T-bills is becoming increasingly attractive for investors. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you mentioned before, up to 5 or 6%, even higher if you go at some of these riskier high yield bonds that some projects will get into are using, and real estate and all that type of thing. So people are actively seeking that yield now. So you've prepared some great slides for us and some projects which we'll just dive into. But I guess the leader market share wise and size for many years now has been Tether. They've reported 850 million profit in Q2 and 72 billion exposures to US Treasury bonds that you just mentioned. And USDC is the other one. Again, reporting huge profits, $780 million for the first half of the year. So, what are your thoughts about these two? Tether's always been in a bit of a grey area because they've non-US based, whereas Circle and USDC are really going for that regulatory clarity and saying, hey, we're the US based ones. Do you want to maybe give people that outline at home for how they can earn so much money that a lot of our viewers might not have thought about when they're just playing around with these stable coins? So why are these companies able to earn so much money?
They're able to earn so much because they give you stability in a very volatile market, and that alone allows people to sleep at night when they want to be hedged. So,
Yeah.
um, and I guess at the same time, they take that yield from you, but you're okay with it because you know that your money is sitting in USD, and if it's USDC, it's backed, so it's 1 for 1. You can redeem. So, I think people are generally like, oh, well, it's maybe good enough. Yeah,
Yeah.
but things are changing, and that pie is a big pie that a lot of projects are trying to get a share of, I guess. And yeah, we'll see how things go, but we're starting to see the start of at the beginning of the yield bearing stablecoins that possibly could take a lot of market share away from USDC, these big players in the centralized stablecoin space. Yeah.
Would you agree that a lot of people into crypto maybe aren't even familiar with the macro world? So even when interest rates were pretty low, the fact that Tether and USDC can deposit at the bank and even get, say, 0.5% allows them to earn so much money and profit from some of it. And people probably weren't even aware that was happening in the background. And we know that for some years now, Tether's been starting to go into bonds and these other things. So I think maybe people just weren't even aware that they were using these funds to earn profit as a company. People were just happy to have that stability, as you mentioned before.
Yeah, and also in 2021, or when DeFi was very active, there's a lot of things happening on there. People probably was getting, 10, 15% on, their USDC, so they didn't really care about what Circle did, what USDT did, Tether did with, your funds, because you're getting way more on chain. There's more happening, a lot of degen things going on, but the market's changed a lot now. The activity's down. Yield is hard to come by. No one wants to be risk on. Even though I believe it's a good time to accumulate some solid projects that are continuing to build right now in this bear market. I think maybe it's just more apparent because interest rate and T-bill yield is going up a lot, and it's better than nothing happening in DeFi. So obviously, I guess if you compare those two scenarios, people are, can easily see what's going on and why they believe that yield should be passed on to end users. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point that we touched on in the pre-interview as well about how, yes, you might have been able to get 5, 10, 15% yield in DeFi in the last cycle, but it wasn't paid out in actual USDC a lot of the time per se. It was kind of like these projects are liquidity mining or trying to get new users and often paying out in their own token or in some other inflationary metric, but it wasn't, I guess, real money or where's this coming from? Whereas now, in this rate environment where you can get those yields from the bank account or from bonds, you're actually getting paid out kind of in real money, and that is where the growth's coming from the inflationary macro backdrop. So that's very different to this, I guess, funny money where everyone was getting these crazy APYs and bragging about it, but really you're just getting diluted. It's not real growth or real value that was coming from anywhere at the time in that last DeFi summer, was it?
No. So most projects that most projects in DeFi, I'd say in 2021 when things were really hot, is the model they use is they get LP providers to provide liquidity, and they give you an APY, but on top of that, they give you their own native token as a boost, so that you get a boosted APY. And the issue with that is that when you give your native token out to people that want to farm, your token, is that they'll dump on the project and then they will move on once that API is not attractive to a new project. And it's obviously time has proven that this way of doing business in DeFi is not sustainable. So what I'm thinking and what I'm seeing is that bringing T-bills on chain would be a more sustainable solution to get a basement level of 5% yield from the get-go. And that's important because DeFi then can build Lego blocks and increase that yield, or if people want a bit more risk or want to be exposed a little or leveraged a bit more, can chase a little bit more of a yield by,
Yeah.
let's say, wrapping on Aave twice, then increasing that yield a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've mentioned Tether and Circle with their USDC. I've just got that article up here where they're talking about their competitive edge, Jeremy Allaire. But is there anything else you wanted to add to that in terms of the other projects we're going to talk about today? Which ones are sort of US based versus Tether that sort of floats around this shadow or a sort of semi-regulated environment and whatnot?
From what I know is if you're US based right now, you can't offer end users with bringing treasury yields on chain to pass that on, and that's probably a reason why. That's probably an excuse they're going to use to continue to keep that profit from treasuries as well. But I guess regulation from America, from the US, is still going to be an issue, even for these new projects that want to tackle this frontier of passing yield to the end user. That regulation is definitely in the backdrop for a lot of these projects too. Yeah.
I kind of see this, possibly going two ways because we have this situation where the US has so much debt, and obviously they're trying to fund all that debt by issuing bonds. At the same time, some of the regulators don't want this kind of thing. They don't like the crypto thing, but it can really work in their favor in terms of keeping US dollars as the world's reserve currency if it becomes widespread and you can get yield, and everyone else, all these projects in DeFi and different places around the world, want to buy their bonds to back these stablecoins. So it can really work in the US's favor. So it's going to be interesting to see if they push back on that.
Well, yeah, they can obviously ship some treasury bills overseas, and there are going to be buyers. And I think maybe that's what they are doing with CBDC, maybe. But yeah, if this takes off, I guess I think I saw somewhere that USDC or Tether holds more US treasuries than some countries now, like Singapore, Dubai, maybe.
Absolutely, yeah.
They're getting huge, So if other projects pop up that continue to gain market share, I mean, they were going to probably have no choice but to look at it,
Yeah.
and let things go if it gets too big. I'm not. I'm certain that it'll continue to grow, but how it will play out and where the US policymakers stand on this, I'm not too sure. Yeah.
So the first project you want to talk about was Maker. So for those that don't know, Maker started off trying to be a decentralized central bank and purely backed by Ethereum, whereas they've really pivoted in the last few years and towards a more centralized model. So this article here is talking about how they've secured $6 billion to buy treasury bills. They've had a bit of a run again lately, but I think it's for a completely different reason than what we've seen in the past when they were the backbone of DeFi, whereas now they've got bank deposits, USDC as collateral, talking about real world assets like housing and bonds and these type of things. So all these centralization and regulatory risks are now backing the DAI stablecoin that was just completely decentralized a few years back. So what are your thoughts on all this, man?
Oh, there's a lot of hate on Maker. Yeah, it's probably one of the most. It's hated a lot from I guess DeFi users or people that are in DeFi. But what they are doing interesting, and they have been capturing TVL for the last sort of few months, is that they're one of the first to go out there and buy T bills and have it on their balance sheet and pass that yield from treasury bills to end users through the new product protocol that they have built called Spark Protocol.
Yeah, I'll bring
Yeah,
that up now for people to have a
yeah,
quick look. So yeah, this is a website we can launch the app there, guys, and earn 5% from DAI. And again, this is different to the old DeFi summer where you're getting paid out in some token of the own project. This yield is coming from US dollars, just like people that have a bank savings account or people that hold bonds in the real world. It's very, very, very safe yield, I guess, on that risk spectrum.
yeah. So I guess it's proven that it has been scaling. Last month, I think the stablecoin market cap increased by 400 million, and Maker captured 300 of it because of what they're offering in the T-bill space.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I think we're starting to see the start of people having a bit of an appetite, and that's where they're looking for yield, which is
Yeah, becoming familiar with it, I
sourcing.
think. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
sourcing from treasuries is what we're seeing right now.
The next one was Fracks. So again, tapping treasuries with a staking vault. Do you want to give people a bit of a background to this project? Because this is one that started off very much in the same realm as Luna in my mind in terms of being sort of fractionally reserved. But I know they've
Yeah.
pivoted a lot recently and changed their sort of collateral types and what they're doing. And now they're getting into this very mature space, I guess. So what are your thoughts on this one?
Frack started off with, as they marketed themselves as an algorithmic stablecoin, right?
Yeah.
And I wasn't too sure. Their backing was probably low,
Mm.
but they've made a lot of progress. They've with V3 coming out soon, they're going to bring again T bills on chain. I think they're partnering with a company in America that can help them bring T bills onto their balance sheet and pass that yield on to customers. They also have their own liquid staking derivative as well, Frax ETH,
Yeah.
and you can earn yield through staking ETH as well, which is another pretty stable form of yield source, which is sustainable too, and they're doing that. So I think Frax is Frax is obviously continuing to build in the bear market. But what's interesting about Frax is what I've read is that when interest rates come down with T-bills, they are saying that they can increase um, their balance sheet with staked ETH and kind of smooth out the interest rate that they can offer. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting. That's a kind of interesting thought around what's the real yield in the macro world when we talk about inflation versus what interest rates are paying and stuff. And in the Ethereum world, I guess the real yield is, well, what are these interest rates available that are above maybe what staked ETH is paying out, and how companies can
Yeah.
balance that out, as you
Yeah.
just mentioned. So yeah,
Yeah.
fantastic.
So stake ETH is probably similar right now, 5-6%. Yeah, and that's sustainable. You're betting on that the Ethereum network continues to burn gas, and with L2s, you know, basically buying block space off the L1 Ethereum mainnet. I think it's a sustainable form of
Yeah,
revenue source, and as Ethereum continue to grow, that fee is going to be there.
I agree.
Yeah,
So next one up was Ono Finance. Mate, do you want to give us just the quick rundown of the point of
yeah.
difference of this one?
Ono Finance is interesting. I think they're trying to do things a more cleaner. Like I don't think it's too retail friendly at the moment. They have $100,000 buy-in. Yeah, but what's interesting is Mantle Network, which is an L2 on Ethereum, has chose them to be the actual default yield bearing stablecoin, and they are allowing people access to that product, which is USDY,
Yeah,
on L2, so that they don't need that $100,000 buy-in.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
fantastic. Mountain Protocol.
Mountain Protocol is another new project that is based in the Bahamas, I believe, and they're trying to do things really clean. They're advertising themselves as regulated US T-bill product. Yeah, so I think the way they can,
Institutional grade as well, yeah.
yeah, so I think what they're trying to do is, I think there's ways you can get approval to sort of have these products built on your ecosystem overseas, not in America, but offer it to people that are not in the US in a kind of regulated way. So it's harder to shut down, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
Uh,
what they're doing.
Next one was Kanto. So this is a pretty funky little website, and there was a good write up done recently as well by Humble Farmer. So what are your thoughts on this one?
Kanto I think Kanto was on the Cosmos chain. I'm sure when they first started, but they've since pivoted to L2. That was the first thing they did in this bear market, is they are pivoting as a side chain, I guess, to Ethereum now,
Yeah.
which we see happening. And also they want to push that real world asset narrative as well when they're getting ready to launch their real world asset sort of treasury bill products. Yeah, and it's been seeing some traction as well. Kanto's reflecting with the Kanto's price action recently. Um, how
They've
successful, we're not sure yet. They're kind of behind compared to the projects that are offering, like MakerDAO and Frax, which is going to follow suit really soon as well.
they've coined this term neo finance, which is probably another one to watch out for as well. It's different to the old altcoin neo, but maybe that's the term we're going to see, neo finance, for this area.
Yeah, it could be. It could be something emerging. Yeah.
The next one is Angle, which is one we covered in some research as well last year. So a euro-based stablecoin, and inflation's even higher, obviously over in the EU. So
Yeah, so they might have to push interest rates even higher. Angles also they've just come out and started offering passing treasury yields on to end users, and they're using that. I think what they're using is they're using BlackRock's money market to secure that interest rate, which is interesting. It's a bit different compared to the other projects that we've seen. Euro has more of a clear guidance in regards to Web3. They are pushing out some pretty clear rules with stablecoins. So
Yeah,
Angle could take market share in that region. And I had a look at Angle last night. They're continuing to build throughout this bear market. You know, they're currently sitting at 6 million market cap. Not financial advice, but what I'm saying is a project that continues to build, sitting at 6 million market cap, is probably looking good. Yeah,
good
that's.
risk to reward.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And another one that's maybe pivoted from that purely DeFi model to, hey, we're going to incorporate some of these centralization models for yield, which is seems like more and more projects are doing. And the next one is Maple, another fantastic project with a few Aussies in the team that we've been covering for a few years now, who have been, again, really busy building all throughout the bear market.
Yeah, Maple's core business is more a private credit marketplace for emerging markets, but they recently started a pool. I guess all these projects that are already in the real world asset space is, seeing that there's an explosive sort of trend towards bringing yields from T bills onto DeFi, and they want to do that through a pool they're using. I think it's called the Money Markets pool on Maple. Yeah,
Yeah.
Maple also they also recently pivoted back onto Solana as well, which I thought was interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, they started with Ethereum and Solana. They left Solana and now they've jumped back into Solana. So maybe they see a future in the Solana ecosystem and they want to pursue, also T bills in that space, and they're doing things in the bear market, which is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Next up, we've got Libra Finance. This is one that's been on a bit of a wild ride over the past few months.
yeah. So Libra is they're not bringing T bills. They are liquid staking derivative
Yeah.
protocol, that stablecoin protocol. And yeah, when it first came out, it was primitive. It was a fresh idea that people could lock their ETH into staked ETH, and then you can then lock it with Libra to earn more yield, which is I guess uh, opening up more opportunities for end users. Yeah,
And
interesting.
launching on Layer Zero as well.
Yes, yes, yes. So it's a rather new project, but it's definitely one to look out for. I think it has retraced a bit as well, and yeah, people that have LSD might want to do something with it. And also they might want to just restake it with Eigenlayer, which is a new restaking protocol.
Yeah,
That's a possibility too. But I mean, yeah, people are going to look for yield, and if you can offer a good product for people to use and uh, be better off, it will be better off for them, and they'll do it. Yeah,
for sure. Athena is a very new protocol, the internet bond.
yeah. Athena is not out yet. It's about to be launched. It's backed by Arthur Hayes, and what's interesting with Athena is that they're using ETH staking as a source of yield, but then they're also using funding rates. So funding rates on to kind of be the other half of that yield source. And we all know that funding rates don't lie, and in bull markets, funding rates can go up to 20-30%, and it could be lucrative. And they're trying to tap into that as well in that delta neutral sort of way. So you're not really affected by the direction of ETH, but it still guarantees you sort of a yield, which is interesting.
Yeah, so I guess for people at
Yeah,
home, it's kind of solving that problem of if you have a stablecoin backed by ETH, but then the price of ETH goes down. Well, they're trying to effectively have perpetuals going short to hedge out that volatility,
that's correct. Yeah. And
and
then
then you've
also
got,
earning funding rates at the same time.
yeah, earning. And even if the funding rates turn negative, hopefully you're still earning some yield on your staked ETH that's outpacing the negative funding rate. So the idea is that hopefully that can be stable over time, but it remains to be seen if you can really do that at scale when you get into the hundreds of billions or trillions.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, but yeah, whether it will scale, well, they don't really even have a working product now. But
yeah,
it's one to look to keep an eye out. I think they're starting a trial with people that have shown interest
Yeah.
in a beta sort of closed test environment. So
One
yeah, we'll see how they go.
ones to keep an eye on. I
Yeah.
guess one more just to mention, and this probably highlights the risks, doesn't it? Is Tangible. So their stable coin USDR is down, I think, crashed 50% today. So I haven't had time to look into the reasons why that is. But I guess whenever there's a central point of failure for regulators to come at, or financial institutions to fail, or freeze some accounts or anything like that, these are the things that we're probably going to see sometime in the next cycle when all these projects we've mentioned start to scale and have exposure to, I guess, US financial products. That's one of the risks that we are taking.
That's correct. Regulatory risk would always sort of be in the backdrop because US has not been friendly with the innovation at the moment. Smart contract risk is also another thing that, yeah, when people, I guess, and when we talk about T-bills, you think it's pretty safe. It's bonds. It's a low duration and it's giving you respectable yield. But the truth of the matter is, if you're bringing the yield from bonds on chain, you're going to be exposed to smart contract risk.
Yes.
So I guess picking projects that have good Lindy, meaning that they've been around for a while, they have solid code, haven't been hacked for a while, they're still around after a few cycles, is all things you can do to sort of mitigate the risk.
Yeah.
Having their contracts audited, yeah, those are the things I guess
Because
end users can take into consideration to limit a bit of some of those risks involved.
I definitely think reward assets and bringing them on chain is still one of the most bullish themes for the next market cycle.
Yeah, there's also, whenever I'm bullish about something, I also look for opposing arguments, and a lot of people saying that there will be it will be hard to bring real world assets on chain. It will take time to bring real estate on chain. People saying, why are you bringing this on chain? Why are you bringing that on chain? There's not a need for it. I think T-bills are straightforward. It's a very basic financial product in the traditional market that has been around,
Yeah.
and it's got a huge market cap. It's backed by the US government. Like, I mean, it is TradFi, and I know we're about DeFi, but the truth of the matter is there's not a lot of action happening in DeFi, and for projects to survive, or if they want to gain more attention, they need to bring new yield sources into DeFi, and that's what we are seeing.
Yeah. I guess, yeah, the flip side of all this TradFi, Neo Finance, whatever we want to call it, real world assets on chain, is don't forget, guys, as William said, DeFi, why we all got into this and why I think we're still going to have a need for this as the other use case. So, Liquidity is a fantastic project, purely ETH backed stablecoin with their LUSD. Handle Finance, I did the video on the other day. They've got all their different global currency stablecoin that you can mint back by ETH. So I think that's probably one theme that hasn't really been spoken about a lot yet because the excitement's on elsewhere on this yield bearing stuff. But yeah, the purely who can build a decentralized DeFi stablecoin purely backed by ETH or staked ETH and that type of thing without these other tangible risks we've spoken about. So any final thoughts on that stuff, mate?
I think it's just the risk spectrum of how safe you want to be as well, and how conservative you want to be. Do you want to be fully ETH backed, or do you want to go to the CBDCs, which is the central bank, the government's stable coin, like the China CBDC
Yeah,
stable coin, or do you want to be in a centralized stable coin like USDC, or you can move all the way down to the risk spectrum of liquidity, which is totally decentralized. They don't even have a front end.
yeah,
So to get access to that, you go to other people's front end. They just purely code and mass backed by Ethereum, and that's a great thing too. If people want to be safe and they want to be truly decentralized, that's definitely a good option.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
so
again,
I think a product for every risk appetite, and aligning with your personal beliefs as well.
yeah. And again, I
Yeah,
think those projects that we mentioned are both down 99% and have been very busy continuing to build out and have great teams and whatnot. So
yeah,
big fans of
yeah.
those. Yeah.
That's right. Like you've taught me, Nugget. You look for who's building in the bear market, and it's easier to see. and backing the people that are continuing to build in the bear market is never a bad idea.
Absolutely. Well, mate, great job for
Yeah.
your first time on camera and whatnot. I know it's never easy, but no, you've got some fantastic slides there and all the research you've been doing on the background. Hopefully, people can look into those projects more. Guys, if you want more of our research, you can head over to the website. We're still running that special, that lifetime membership special. You can sign up to the new platform and see all our research. But any final thoughts, mate?
Um, I guess for viewers, keep engaged in this space, whether it's DeFi, gaming you're into. This is an important time. Not much happening, but you can definitely learn and make some make some really good decisions to propel you forward in the next couple of years. Yeah, and
Absolutely.
yeah, I would definitely be interested to make more content
Awesome, mate.
and talk about things that are interesting to me, and hopefully bring some value to the viewers.
Fantastic. Look forward to it. All right. Thanks, guys. I'll talk to you again soon. Cheers.
Thank you.